you don't have the right to kill somebody.
Okay.
The law says you can't kill somebody. Somebody comes to your house, knocks on your door, steals your dog out of the front yard, you shoot them. Your independence would arguably make it so that if they came into your property and they stole your property, you have the right to shoot them. But the law doesn't let you do that.
Well,
so which one do you support there? Do you support your independence? Do you support the law?
If I were in Florida or Texas, yeah, of course I could shoot them. Right?
I don't think that's true either.
The castle doctrine, right? Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't shoot somebody I would shoot somebody if my life were in mortal danger. But no, if somebody's stealing my dog, no.
But what takes precedence? Like, it's not about the example. I'm asking, is it the law or is it your independence?
Well, I don't think the two are mutually exclusive. I really don't.
The government is what defines the law. I believe the law is what defines what you are allowed to do within the confines of your independence.
Yeah, no, but I believe that we can have small government, a clearly defined set of laws, and still the individual freedom and liberty to lead our lives independently of government interference. I really believe that.
Except when you violate a law, because then there's government interference.
But let me throw it back at you this way. Between 2012 and 2022, Congress created 500 new crimes, not 500 new laws, 500 new crimes, things that in 2011 were legal and in 2022 were felonies. Crazy things. I've written about this extensively. For example, there was a man in Alabama who was a commercial fisherman and caught a halibut that was 11 inches. You have to be, there it is. Oh, hey, I wrote that. So, good catch, by the way. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Steve. Steve's on the ball. He always is.
So, he was like, it's 11 inches, 12 inches. All right. He kept it. Just so happened that a U.S. fisheries boat was nearby. They pull up. Hey, can we take a look at your catch? One of the halibuts was too small. He said, I'll throw it back in. It was still alive. He threw it back in. They charged him with a felony, and prosecuted him successfully. There's a more egregious example. There's a woman working for NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, in Honolulu. She's a GS-12, so you know how expensive Honolulu is. She's not making much money. So she and a friend of hers buy a boat, and on the weekends, they take tourists out to go whale watching. They're out there one day, and this case kind of became famous because it's an egregious example. They're out there one day, and they encounter an orca eating a seal. So everybody runs to the side of the boat. They're taking pictures. They're taking videos. And somebody whistles at the whale, right? Just to get it to stay near the surface so they can take a video. Okay. A week later, FBI. She opens her door. Do you have a boat you take tourists out? Yeah. Did you take them out last week? Yes. Did you see a whale? Yes. You whistled at the whale? She said, no. Somebody did, but I didn't. But she said, you know what? I make DVDs of the outings and I sell the DVDs to the tourists. So they take the DVD. A couple of weeks later, they go back to her house. They raid the house. They take hundreds of DVDs. They take her computers. They take her cell phone. They take everything. And then they charge her with a felony count of interfering with the feeding of a wild animal, which falls under the Endangered Species Act. Felony. So she fights it. This thing drags on for 5 years. She lost her boat. She lost her business. NOAA fired her because she had been charged with a felony, so she lost her federal pension. And in the end, they bump it down to a misdemeanor. She paid a little fine. And that was it. But she had lost everything in her life. So government is too much. You know, we need that structure to keep us free and keep us democratic and what have you. But 500 new crimes, 50 new crimes a year, it's too much. It's onerous.
I don't think we're talking about the same thing, man. Like, I am losing track of what you actually think is important, because you started this conversation saying that the legal definition of terrorism or torture from the 1940s was what we should have adhered to.
Yeah, it's
And
on the
now
books
what
all
you're
these
saying,
years.
now what you're saying is there's too many laws.
Yeah, that law was perfectly good enough. Why do we need to keep
who's the
looking
one
at
that's
it
going to
different way?
decide who's the one that decides when a law is good enough?
The courts decided.
And the courts also are what approved operations for CIA.
But the courts never weighed in on
On
torture.
the torture stuff. They
Clear-
said they
never.
never did, right?
There are always attorneys, there are always cleared courts, there are always cleared individuals. Always.
So why didn't the Bush administration go to the courts and ask for an opinion?
I have no idea. I don't know the process by which permission is granted by
I can tell you
by the
step by
DOJ.
step. I can tell you step by step. That idea went from CTC to OLC, the Office of Legal Counsel at the Justice Department. They approved it. It went back to CIA General Counsel. From CIA General Counsel, it went to the Attorney General. From there, it went to NSC General Counsel, and then to the National Security Advisor, and then to the President.
So
Took about 6 months.
there's multiple legal representatives in there,
and no courts.
and they were under the executive branch.
Yeah, I know. But if you're making a determination that a law that's been on the books since 1946 is not really what it purports to be, and the stuff that was outlawed all these years, it really isn't outlawed. We're going to do it a different way. You need a real legal opinion, an
they
outside
had
legal
multiple.
opinion.
So now we're getting into different things, right?
No, but what you're talking about is having all these neocons in the room all agreeing with one another and convincing each other that, yeah, this isn't going to be a problem. This is legal.
But what I'm saying is just I don't know whether you're making an argument where you want laws to be set forever, or whether you're making an argument where you want laws to be removed, or whether you're making an argument where you want laws to be optional, because you're also talking about being libertarian and putting your independence above government. So I don't know what position you're making, man. I don't know where you're standing.
I believe in the rule of law. I believe that
when it takes away your independence, or only when it benefits your independence.
if it takes away your independence, then change the law. That's a
then
part of the
how do you
rule of law.
believe in the rule of law if the law can be changed?
That's the system that we have.
That's the system that we have, but you're saying the system we have is not
But if we have a system where laws are permanent, then we're going to have what you said at the beginning of this conversation. We're going to have children working in the mines and women not being allowed to vote and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. No. The Constitution is a living, breathing thing. If there's something that's not working, then you change it. Right? But passing laws for the sake of passing laws and criminalizing a society that ought not be criminalized is a mistake.
Correct. I agree with that. That has to do with the version of government we have right now.
Sure.
I agree with that. And I'm not saying I want big government, and I'm not saying that government is right. I'm not saying any of those things. All I'm saying is that the reality is the government is there to protect itself. It is not there to protect us.
I agree. That is a reality.
So that's all I'm trying to get at, because I'm just trying to keep track of the conversation, because I am getting lost in the different kind of pillars of ideology that you put out there.
I'll tell you what, from my angle, I'm riveted. So this is great.